Siener van Rensburg, the enigmatic Boer prophet, left behind a legacy of visions that continue to captivate and divide opinion. While some dismiss his prophecies as vague and open to interpretation, others see them as eerily accurate predictions of world events. His visions painted a future both terrifying and intriguing. And today, we find ourselves questioning whether we are living in the world he foresaw. Before we speculate further, please like this video and subscribe to our channel. One of van Rensburg's most frequently cited predictions was the outbreak of World War I and later World War II. In his visions, he saw a great war igniting in Europe, with rivers of blood flowing through the streets, cities burning, and a great leader falling. His followers claim these images closely match the devastation of both world wars. He also predicted that Germany would rise, fall and rise again, a sequence of events that aligns with the country's trajectory through the 20th century. He specifically mentioned a red tide flowing over Europe, which some interpret as the spread of communism following the wars. Another of his visions involved the collapse of the British Empire. He described a mighty power that once ruled the world, its influence stretching across continents only to crumble as its dominions slipped away. He foresaw a lion being surrounded by jackals, its strength fading. The rapid decolonization that followed World War II, with many nations gaining independence from British rule, is often cited as the realization of this prophecy. He also foresaw South Africa leaving British control and experiencing internal strife. Perhaps one of his most controversial predictions is the end of white minority rule in South Africa. He spoke of a time when Afrikaners would lose control of their land, facing hardships and oppression. In one vision, he described a dark cloud descending over the country and people wandering without direction. This has been interpreted as the fall of Apartheid in 1994. Some believe this was exactly what van Rensburg saw, a period of hardship before a later revival of Afrikaner nationalism, which he indicated would follow a time of extreme suffering. But what of his visions that have yet to fully unfold? Many of his followers believe we are currently witnessing the playing out of his prophecy of economic collapse and civil unrest in South Africa. He described a black government that would come into power, bringing corruption, lawlessness, and a period of darkness. He foresaw a country where infrastructure would fail, lawlessness would rise, and people would flee in desperation. Today, with widespread economic challenges, rolling blackouts, and increasing tensions, it's hard to ignore the parallels between his visions and reality. Another prophecy that draws significant attention is that of a future war involving Russia. Van Rensburg saw a great conflict arising from the east, with the Russian bear awakening and challenging the west. In his visions, he saw a time when the eagle, often interpreted as America, would be weakened, and a great war would unfold in Europe. Some speculate that this could relate to the ongoing Russia-Ukraine conflict, which has already sent ripples through international relations and economies worldwide. He specifically predicted that Russia would emerge as a dominant force and play a crucial role in a future global confrontation. Among his most hopeful predictions is the rise of a new leader, a strong Afrikaner figure who would restore order and bring his people back to prosperity. In one vision, he saw a man in a brown suit standing on a rock, leading the Boer people to victory after much suffering. This leader, he claimed, would emerge during a time of great turmoil, uniting the Boer people and leading them to reclaim what was lost. Beyond South Africa, van Rensburg's visions stretched across the world. He spoke of a period of great global unrest, where leaders would become weak and moral decay would be rampant. He described a world where corruption would spread, political instability would reign, and people would lose faith in their governments. In one vision, he saw a giant building collapsing, symbolizing the fall of major institutions. Many view the current state of global affairs marked by rising populism, division and political instability as a reflection of his warnings. His descriptions of a world embroiled in confusion and strife seem eerily familiar in an era where trust in governments is waning and societies are more polarized than ever before. He also foresaw natural disasters intensifying, a world struggling with floods, droughts and extreme weather. He spoke of a time when fire and water would ravage the land, with great storms sweeping across nations. In one vision, he saw vast areas underwater and raging fires consuming cities. Given the growing concerns over climate change, it is not difficult to find correlations between his prophecies and today's environmental challenges. The rise in natural calamities, from devastating wildfires to unprecedented hurricanes and heat waves, aligns with his vision of a world being reshaped by forces beyond human control. Even the rise of technology and artificial intelligence has been linked to his visions of an era where human hands would create something that might ultimately turn against them. Some interpreters argue that his warnings about soulless beings controlling men could relate to the modern-day concerns about automation, AI dominance, and the ethical dilemmas surrounding technological advancement. Van Rensburg also predicted a great famine, where food shortages and scarcity would bring hardship across many nations. He described barren lands, dead cattle, and people struggling for survival. In one vision, he saw people trading gold for a loaf of bread, symbolizing extreme economic collapse. With the growing concerns over food security, supply chain disruptions, and agricultural failures linked to climate change, this vision appears to be taking shape. He also spoke of a global financial collapse, where markets would crumble and nations would struggle under the weight of economic instability. He foresaw a time when paper money would become worthless and people would resort to bartering and alternative means of trade. In one vision, he saw a man holding a worthless banknote, unable to buy food. With increasing fears of recession, inflation and economic downturns triggered by global crises, many point to this as a fulfillment of his prophecy. The fragility of financial institutions and the rapid shifts in economic power mirror the concerns he foresaw long ago. Perhaps one of his most unsettling prophecies was of a great migration. Millions of people leaving their homelands due to war, famine and economic hardship. He foresaw long lines of displaced people, their homes left behind, searching for new lands to settle. In one vision, he described people moving like swarms of locusts across borders. Today, as conflicts, climate change and economic instability drive large-scale migrations across the globe, we see echoes of his vision. Nations struggle with mass movements of refugees, raising questions about the sustainability of borders, resources and humanitarian efforts. So, where does this leave us? Are we truly living in the age of Van Rensburg's prophecies coming to life? For believers, his words serve as a roadmap for navigating an increasingly uncertain future, while skeptics see only coincidences and selective interpretation at play. However, the enduring fascination with his visions suggests that, true or not, his legacy continues to shape the perspectives of many. What remains undeniable is that history has a habit of repeating itself. Whether his prophecies are divinely inspired or simply an acute understanding of the cyclical nature of human affairs, the echoes of his words can still be heard today. As we stand at the crossroads of history, the question lingers: are we fulfilling a destiny foretold, or are we merely walking paths well trodden by those before us? Thank you for watching. Please subscribe and hit the notification bell for more videos. We appreciate the support.